Good morning, everyone. Although this might look a little bit dark, this is 9 o'clock in the morning on my desk, and I'm actually switching out a couple of my switches on my keyboard. I thought this would be maybe a small little cool vlog to kind of share. So when I work either on a computer or on a desktop at my client, I always bring my own mechanical keyboard. For a couple of months now, I have been using this knock-free split keyboard. As you can see here, the great thing about it is that you can basically not only split it, but you tent it like this, and you kind of angle it for your wrist. On a regular keyboard, let's see if I can show it to you. On a regular keyboard, when it's close together, your wrist kind of, I need to do it a little bit more, it goes like that. And then you have this little angle. But if you can split it, then you basically can arrange your keyboard like so. And not only like from here to here, but more importantly also from flat to a little bit angled, which is so comfortable on my wrist, and that is the reason why I love this keyboard. I prefer mechanical keyboards for their tactility and for them not being so lightly pressable. You know, on most workstations that I work on, they have the magic keyboards, and those are those chiclet style flat keyboards. And I kind of caught myself most of the time when you are looking through footage while editing, I hover my hands over the keyboard. And with those magic keyboards, you have to imagine sometimes I need to look through 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours of footage, and then obviously your hand gets a little bit, let's say, relaxed, and then you suddenly press on those chiclet style keys by accident. That's the word I was looking for, by accident. But with mechanical keyboard, that does not happen. Then obviously it just feels better to work on a mechanical keyboard. More importantly, after COVID, I always brought my keyboard before COVID, but even after COVID, it got even more important to bring your old peripherals, because there were so many people working on those workstations and sometimes they just don't clean it up. So having your own peripherals, mouse and keyboard, was a health decision. Now, while I do love this keyboard a lot, on my last job, I noticed when people were working in the same room and they had to take a call, this is a little bit too loud. These are so-called linear switches, but not the ones that I put in there are linear as well, but I don't know what the name of these is. These are just in air quotes linear, and these that I'm putting in now are the Gateron yellow switches that, can you hear that? They are a little bit softer in tone. These are a little bit harsher. And these, the new ones, are. And not only do I put these new switches in, but I also put in some dampening rings in the keycaps. This is a little bit of a, let's say, fiddly task where you have to remove all of the keycaps, but not only the keycaps, but also the buttons, the mechanical buttons that are in here. If you ever want to get a mechanical keyboard, look for hot swappable, how do you call these? Switches. Hot swappable switches. Because basically what you can do to kind of dabble first into mechanical keyboards, you could buy a cheaper keyboard as long as they have hot swappable switches, and then you can kind of see, oh, is this for me or is this not for me? And then you could basically just, let me showcase to you, you kind of use this tool go into them, and then you can pull out these little, can focus, probably not, these little switches, and replace them with the ones that you kind of want to utilize. So these are the yellow ones, and you can basically just drop them in there. So that would be a really cool way to get into mechanical keyboards, because they can get a little bit expensive, and especially if you don't know yet, and that is the big thing, if you don't know yet what you like because you've never tested a mechanical keyboard, you don't know what kind of switches you prefer, you don't know what sound and what button presses you actually like, it is a good idea to start with a cheap one first and then customize it to your liking. Granted, yes, the board and stuff like that won't be that great, but I would argue if you then really like a mechanical keyboard and somewhat know what you want to buy in the future, then you can invest in a more expensive one. For example, Keychron is one of the brands that is pretty much known, that people really like, because, for example, MKBHD is quite often, as far as I can tell, has been recommending Keychron. I've never used the Keychron, but they are around like 100 to 200 price range. So it is definitely something that you, in air quotes, need to invest in. And therefore, I would say go with a cheaper one first to kind of see if you like mechanical keyboards, and then maybe either upgrade it like I do with custom switches, which is in actuality, as far as I can tell, the usual route for keyboard enthusiasts. They buy a keyboard, an expensive keyboard with really good switches, and then for some reason switch out the switches anyways later on. So it is a very passionate niche, so I don't want to get into the keyboard niche because I don't have any clue about keyboards that well. I know now what I like, but I don't have that many keyboards, and I find it so funny that there are some niches where people are so extremely passionate about it that they argue so much on the internet. Let me just drink some Huel real quick. And I find it so weird how angry and passionate people are. It's keyboards, knives, and watches. Those communities, wow, they can become quite toxic, unfortunately, and very passionate. I understand it. It's a hobby that they enjoy, that they cherish a lot, but just the way some people get when trying to defend their decision is so interesting to me. And I sometimes don't really understand how you can get so angry and so defensive and also offensive in a way that they want to protect whatever they like. I have so many things that I'm passionate about, but I would never go in the comment section and then attack someone with that, which is basically why, and now I'm kind of looping this back basically to YouTube creation. I love this kind of stuff. I love keyboards, I love watches, I love knives, but I always say whenever I do a video about one of these items, especially with knives, which I don't review anymore due to the laws in Germany, but I always knew that when I reviewed them, I was very careful to kind of preface the video by saying I have no idea about what I'm talking about. I like knives, but I have no idea about the steels, the mechanism and stuff like that, as well as with watches. I love watches. I have done a couple of watch reviews, but I also kind of preface them with saying, I don't know what I'm talking about. I like these watches. I know some of the details, but I realized, for example, my Steinhardt mechanical watch is an homage watch to Rolex. And I just know that there are a lot of watch enthusiasts that do not like homage watches at all. So I was really aware of the fact that I could attract some nasty comments. Fortunately, that did not happen. Maybe because I told everyone in the video I do not have any clue. I think when you get into a niche and you kind of claim that you have a clue about that topic, then you attract the sharks. Then you attract basically the people who will kind of attack you and say, you have no clue what you're talking about. The item that you review is basically garbage. You need to check out that or this and that. I mean, I recently check out the video. I will put it in the description or link it in the last bit of this video, where someone was commenting on my video and saying, oh, you drive a shitty smart car that is unsafe, so everything that you're saying about that bag in this review is pretty much useless. That's the kind of people that you potentially will attract in specific niches. So depending on what kind of videos you want to make in the future, you kind of need to be aware of the fact that if it's a very passionate topic, that some people might get after you. And as I said in the video previously, if someone leaves a pretty nasty comment, approach them depending on what is. If they really attack you with some racist stuff or whatever, then don't engage. But if it's a, let's say, rude comment, then approach them with some form of respect and benefit of the doubt. Sometimes they have a shitty day. Sometimes they don't realize that they have the caps lock on, for example. Or they don't realize that they, on the internet, sometimes people, I have the feeling that sometimes people write a comment as if they were in a conversation with you already. So they watch the video. In the middle of the video, they think they are in a conversation with you, and then they just drop some comment without kind of introducing what they want to say. I'm not saying that they have to say, hello, my name is blah, 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 but sometimes they just jump into it with the impression that you, as the creator of the video, know exactly where and in the video they jumped into and which point they are answering to. And sometimes that comes across a little bit rude, and therefore they don't realize that that comes across rude because they just jumped into the conversation, right? So sometimes I give them the benefit, or not sometimes, most of the time I give them the benefit of the doubt because sometimes they don't realize what or how they have commented. And yeah, so try to approach them with respect, and then usually they realize, oh, that was a shitty comment that I made. If they don't engage any further. It's definitely not worth it to reply to or engage in a very toxic discussion where that person doesn't want to kind of back off or see it from two different perspectives, you know? Yeah. That was my little vlog about this, and let's do a comparison because this is a split screen, split keyboard. I can show you the old switches. They sounded like this. And then new ones. Old. New. So much better. It's also so with switches, it's all about the travel, so linear, tactile, and something else. Then how hard you need to press them, but also the sound. And these yellow Gateron switches are a little bit harder to press, but not by much. So it has still that really cool tactical feel. It's not as loud because they don't bottom out that much due to the O-rings and that. So you still have tactical feel, you still have a much better sound because it's a little bit on the lower end, a little bit deeper. And more importantly, while I still have sound, it's not as loud and annoying to my clients. All right, so that was my short little vlog. If you want to check out that vlog that I just mentioned about that person that kind of criticized me about my car, check out the video up here. YouTube thinks that you like the video down here, and don't forget to subscribe by clicking the button up here. I see you tomorrow.